Hello and welcome. I mentioned in a previous video that I found some old footage of a show that I did many years ago. Didn't realize I actually had the footage. I'm trying to share some pieces from that show, some performance pieces. The piece that I want to share with you today is called the neck twister. That's what I call it anyway. The neck twister illusion. It was actually invented by this gentleman right here. His name is Joe Karson. By the way, before I go any further, I do like you to see the effect before we talk about the effect. So I'm just going to pause for a moment, insert that performance piece here. Please take a look. Come on back. I'll tell you all about it. Now, you know, when I perform, sometimes I get a little bit nervous. One of the things that I've noticed is that nervousness is related to your physical body. Your body tenses up, you get nervous. If your body can relax, you feel relaxed. Well, I've invented a piece of equipment that helps me relax before a show. This is Matt Steyer. He's a friend of mine. He's helping me out today. He's going to show you this piece of apparatus that I've made here. The way it works is this. I'm going to get down on my knees. Matt's going to put this over my head. Let me take my glasses off, Matt. Very good. Now Matt's going to put this over my head. It fits nice and snug on my head. And Matt, if you'll turn it just a little bit, we'll show the folks, that's good, that's good. Oh, yeah. How it helps me relax. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Go ahead. Oh, no, wait. Well, you know, as you can see, it's a little bit painful. Okay, so that effect that I call the neck twister was invented by Joe Karson. When he invented it in, I believe, 1943. He invented it in 1943. It appeared in a booklet called Illusion Magic, and he called it the Rubberneck Illusion. It's been performed many times since. Jonathan Pendragon does it. You know, I don't see it as a serious illusion, but I do see it as a bit of comedy, and it is a trick, and it is I think it's very entertaining. If you listen to the audience reaction, audiences love that thing. They just adore it. Now there are some performance tips that you want to follow. You want your face to appear to be as tight as possible in that box, so that it appears to be impossible for you to move your face back and forth. You do want to try to do that, but the effect, I don't think it really fools anyone. It might, I don't think it does, but the effect on the audience is very pleasing. It's an audience pleaser. Let's put it that way. So Joe Karson. In the late 1930s, he started a mail-order business called Karson Xclusives. Xclusives is X-C-L-U-S-I-V-E-S. Karson's Exclusive. He manufactured a lot of his own stuff, including the Rubberneck illusion or the neck twister. He owned a magic shop in Springfield, Massachusetts, where he built much of the magic he sold. I think it's awesome when a magic dealer manufactures magic. I mean, it's a rare thing. We got a guy here locally, Howard Katz, who owns the Magic Warehouse, and he has started making his own chop cups, which are just fantastic. I'm going to have to do a chop cup episode here on this video channel to share with you some of his work, but he just does great stuff. And I think it's fantastic when a dealer can put out exclusives, you know, and the way to do that is to manufacture your own stuff, and so that's what he did. He is one of the founding members of the Magic Dealers Association, which is now defunct, and that's a shame. But you know what? Joe Karson is most famous for his invention of the zombie ball in 1940. The zombie ball in 1940. Now, I have not done a presentation on the zombie, but it is one of the most versatile levitation illusions. If you're not familiar with it, the zombie ball is a usually silver, sometimes gold ball. It's about this size. and you drape a foulard over it, and it animates. It floats around. It comes to the top of the foulard. It appears over your shoulder. It's just fantastic. This is not my purpose to present on the zombie. I just thought I'd tell you a couple of quick stories about the zombie. When I was in high school, I was a high school senior at the time. I did a couple of shows for a few classes, and they liked it. And the teacher, who was an English teacher, asked me if I did larger shows. Now, this was back in 1978, maybe 77. At this time, Doug Henning was on the scene, and Doug Henning was really ushering in the second great wave of magic, the second great golden age. And so people were interested in magic because of Doug Henning. And so he said, do you do a large illusion show? At the time, I really didn't, but I wanted to. So I said, yeah, I do. I said, yeah, I do. So he said, well, it would really be cool if you put on a big show for us. I can get the high school theater. We can bring the class down, and I'll give you whatever time you need, whatever passes you need to get this thing done. So I asked for a couple of months, to get this thing together, because I didn't have a show rehearsed. I was a gymnast at the time, so I picked out a female gymnast that I was training with, and I asked her if she would be willing to be my assistant. She was my first assistant. She really was, and she was fantastic. I just adored her. So we got together every night. We rehearsed this show, and one of the things that I rehearsed was the zombie. Now, again, without revealing how the zombie is done, and I'm not going to do that, there was a reason why I wanted her to hold it as opposed to picking it up off the table. And the reason was that I felt that if she held it, the gimmick would adhere more solidly than if I tried to pick it up from the table. Okay, so that's the reason I did it. So at one point in the show, she's standing there holding this ball, right? And I drape the foulard. I put my arms around her. The foulard comes down in front. The ball comes up, and I literally float it over her head and continue the routine, floating it around the stage, right? So at one point, now almost everyone who does the zombie wants the zombie to come to the top of the foulard so that everyone can see it. It's a very visual technique and move. So I bring it up to the top, and it keeps going, and it falls to the ground, and splits in half, and the halves roll across the stage. I was humiliated. This is my high school class. All my friends, everybody's watching. And I drop the zombie ball on the floor, and it rolls across the stage. So I was embarrassed. Like any professional, and I had a professional attitude back then, I went on to the next effect. I acted like that was supposed to happen. And I went on to the next effect, but inside I was just torn up. So a friend of mine came up to me afterward and said, it was amazing that you were able to keep that thing levitating as long as you did. They thought my concentration lapsed and the thing fell because my concentration lapsed. They had no idea what went wrong. So that goes to show you, folks, you make a mistake on stage, keep trucking, because the audience really doesn't know whether or not that's supposed to be in the show anyway. So keep on trucking. Hey, there's been a lot of material on the zombie ball. You can get it almost anywhere. This particular video, I wanted to recommend you. It's called the Naked Zombie Ball. It's called the Naked Zombie Ball because the gentleman who presents this is not using a foulard. He's just using the ball, nothing else, just the ball. Actually, there's no gimmick either, just the ball. But the routine is phenomenal. So if you're looking for something really different on zombie, pick that up. Hey, zombie wasn't really my purpose. Actually, the neck twister was. The neck twister, though, is something I had done for years just like the spot card. I think they get a great audience reaction. I would highly recommend it to you. Invented by Joe Karson. Folks, if you have not already subscribed, please do so. Leave your comments below. I love to read your comments. I will respond. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.